Welcome back, traders. Second portion of our show, Market Movers. Let's start with Dell Computer, out with earnings last night, Dennis.
Yeah, Dell had kind of all over the place last night. Traded way up on the earnings and traded down into the low 15s. Now it's kind of settled in here at 15.30. So down 33 cents just slightly on that Dell earnings report. I'd probably look at that 15 area where it was bottoming last night as, initial support. On the upside, 16 remains pretty huge. It did. I don't know if it touched. You may look at your tape from last night if it touched up to 16 or not, but I remember trading into the high 15, so up there's going to be resistance as well.
Kind of bounced all over the place. Getting up, trying to see how high it got here. Highest I see the stock trading is, I didn't see it up in the high 16s, Dennis. I see it
high 15s, high 15s, Joe.
Okay, yeah. I see it getting up to 15.65. Dell's kind of settled into a range here. It doesn't really want to crack the $15 level and doesn't really want to get over 15.5. And lo and behold, here we are trading at 15.29. Even if it does take out 15, I don't see a whole lot of room on the downside. 1470 sticks out as a number. So maybe this is another stock for channeling stocks.com, 15 to 15.5.
We have Abercrombie and Fitch. That's going to have a heck of a range, though. It announced earnings here this morning, and ANF is the symbol on that one, and it is absolutely getting killed. It's trading 50.56 right now after closing at 55.70, so it's down $5. Actually traded into the 49s there for a while this morning. This 55 is a key breakdown area for that stock. If ever it's to try to get back up to that 55, I think that becomes major resistance. Obviously, we're $4.50 away from there, so I don't know if that comes into play today, but definitely big resistance now up at 55. 50 is probably a pretty good psychological swing number, so maybe you get some initial support there. If it takes that out, then a major lower. Joel, what do you think on ANF?
It did trade down to 48.80 in the pre-market. Looking at the longer-term charts, 50 looks like pretty good support. Back up, coming on the upside. I think you'll run into some resistance at 54. But Dennis, just please explain to me how the stock can trade 77.49, just a few days ago at the end of October, and now be at $55, $50. I mean,
isn't it? Yeah, that's an incredible move. I mean, some of these retailers, these online retailers, they've got, some multiples that are a little bit high, and obviously, the sales just haven't been that great. I don't know if that's a tell on other retailers, but, you definitely want to keep that in mind when you have one retailer like this struggling so much, apparel retailer. You wonder if some of these other ones, are going to start to struggle.
Do you know the reason for that gap back in November, 2nd to 3rd, when it dropped $11? Was that just, was that when the Ralph Lauren came out, or was that a downgrade?
No, there was something. And here's the problem: is that we're so short-term natured. I remember we even covered the show that day with the reasoning, and I'm trying to remember: did they pre-announce? I think they may have, or not pre-announced, but maybe they, said that there were, lowered guidance. I think is what it might have been. And obviously, well, maybe they didn't lower it enough because they're knocking another $5 off the stock. I think that's what it might have been, but, don't quote me on that because I'm just going off my memory here. Obviously, if we had a little bit more time, I could go look it up for you, but we're going to use up the whole show on ANF if I start going and try to cut down the actual reason for that. So I think that's what it was, though. I think they lowered guidance, and obviously stock didn't like that. Now trading down at 50. So this has been a pretty significant sell-off in the last month for ANF shareholders. I'm sure the longs aren't too happy. Target reporting earnings here as well, sticking with the retailers theme. Actually, their numbers were very good. They beat substantially. Stock is trading up 55.05 after closing at 53.08. So it's getting a good lift on that earnings report. I'm looking at the chart here. It's major resistance at 56. It looks huge there to me. I don't know if it's got enough gas to get that high, but expect, I'd imagine, I can't see that far in the book, but it looks like, we topped out back there in February. We topped out there in October. So I'd imagine if we get out there, the first time here, it probably struggles to get through that 56 again. So I'd expect the high 55s there to be some pretty significant resistance, Joel.
Yeah, you'll actually run into a couple tops here in the French retailers. Target back at the end of October, 55.40 to 55.55. You had a double top there. Above that was the $56 level. Have not been able to trade that high in the pre-market. The highest we've gotten in the pre-market is 55 and a quarter. So I'd look for stiff resistance in that area, and going from 55 and a quarter up to a half. If this thing, it's flirting right here with the $55 level. I'd hate to be long if this thing can't hold 55, because I think you could get a pretty steep sell-off here, perhaps down to the 54 level. How many times have you seen these stocks, whether it's Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatever? They do come out with these earnings. They open up, $2, some, 4%, and then, the sellers just step in and take profits. So, I'd be more tempted to short this stock off the open than I would be to buy it.
A good point, Joel. I'm trying to remember 3 months ago, I seem to remember the same thing, Target opening way high off an earnings report and then giving it all back. I'm just trying to look back at the chart here. You see it there? I think it is in mid-August there, Joel. You see the opening there on that one spike in volume there in mid-August? Looking at the chart, obviously don't have fundamental information. I think it did the same thing. I think it opened near the high, up $2 or $3 on a good earnings report, and basically gave her all back there, in a day. I'm not saying it's going to do that again today, but it has done that in the past. So, maybe, that's not that bad of a call on your part, Joel. I don't know, it's something to keep in mind, especially if it opens up, into these mid-55s or in that 56 resistance area. Even 55, I'm starting to see a little bit of size form there, so it looks like there's going to be some resistance even at 55 on this one. Moving on, though, Tyco reported earnings here as well. TYC stock is trading up a little bit on the earnings report. It's trading right now at 46.10 after closing at 45.79. I'm looking at this chart, this 46 number, which is where we topped out. Obviously, we're trading above there right now, but we topped out there back in September. We kind of broke out of it over in October. We've been breaking out of it. I still think it's a good swing number, though, this overall 46 number. Yep. So, if it can't hold 46, then maybe it starts to give some back. What do you think on Tyco, Joel?
Tyco definitely have recovered from the days of Dennis Kozlowski with the $15,000 shower curtain.
Remember that. Ridiculous.
Major resistance here. It's a funny thing I remember about stocks, huh?
$15,000 shower curtain.
Major resistance up is at 47.39. Not sure that's going to come into play. On the site, I said it. I thought it needed to hold the 46.30 level. Currently trading below that. 46.29 was yesterday's high, so I would use that as a swing number. If it can get back, get above, and hold that 46.30 level, it could make a run here at the 2-day high at 47.29.
Well, obviously we talked on the Big Ten show about Chevron, CVX. There was, some news there where, they had an oil leak in their one project in Brazil. That leak was fixed overnight, so the stock is getting a little bit of a lift. Keep in mind his ex-dividend for 81 cents today, so the adjusted close is 102.46. Trading 103, so it's actually trading up 50 cents on the day. We're down 13. So I think they're happy that this leak is, not still leaking. I think some people get all fearful that you get another BP incident on our hands, but they got that leak solved pretty quickly. So you wonder if it's going to get some of its gains back today. What do you think on Chevron, Joel?
Well, I think that, you get your dividend players who, accumulate a stock going into a dividend. If they were accumulating the stock over the last 4 or 5 days just for the dividend, they're getting smoked because the stock was trading, 107, 108, 109. On the other hand, folks that waited till yesterday, to buy the stock and, pick up that lofty dividend, I'm sure we'll be trying to get out at settlement here at 103.28, especially with, knocking the price on that. So should be interesting to see what happens between this 102.38 and 103.28.
WDC in the news, Western Digital enters into a supply agreement with SAE. Stock is trading up $26 right now. Symbol's WDC on that one if you don't know it. Trading $26 after closing at $25.05. So WDC is getting a pretty decent lift here. This was a stock that looked like it was breaking down yesterday, so it'll be interesting, it's breaking down at 25, kind of looked like a breakdown through the 26. We come right back up to, where it was breaking down from there yesterday or the day before from that 26. So you wonder if you're going to here, Joel. What do you think on WDC?
I mean, it's news, it's relevant. The stock is trading up. I would say if it can't hold this 25.76 level, that it'll be going right back down to $25. On the other hand, if you're going to get up and try and test the 2 days close at 26.34, sure you'll find some resistance there.
Pepsi, we'll just close with that one because we're going to run out of time, but Pepsi had a heck of a run yesterday. I think it's obviously just warrants a discussion just because it was such a move, breaking out over multiple levels, over the 64, getting up almost that 65. There was some size up there at 65, so that's probably why it topped out 64.92. I think if it gets back up into those high 64s again, you're going to be met with some stiff resistance as traders from yesterday, may be looking at that as a double top potential, especially with some size to back it up there. What do you think on Pepsi, Joel?
Right. I see the 65. There's not a whole lot on the charts here. The thing is onch on the day. So, after the big run yesterday and the relatively weak market here, if this thing, can't hold that close at 64.50, I think we could settle right back down into that 63 level.
That's all I've got for you today, Joel. Obviously, we're down 12 in the market, so there is some, there's a lot of stocks moving here. I see a lot of commodities trading down, some of your financials trading down. Those look relatively weak. Some of your other stocks, more defensive stocks, not trading down quite that much, even like Pepsi, just barely trading down. So,
okay.
That's all I've got for you. Is there anything else you want to close with?
We're trading right on yesterday's low here at 1241.75. So folks that are looking for a low risk buy off the open, we could be looking here at this 1241 level down to the Globex low. Below the Globex low, let's keep an eye on Tuesday's low at 1234, which matches Friday's low at 1233.75. But that's all I have for today, folks. We'll be back with you tomorrow.